Gentlemen, I'll just put a context to the session and we'll have a discussion with the esteemed panelists. Around the world, right, governments are moving beyond digitization to an era of intelligent governance, right? The aspiration is no longer just to make services available to citizens, but to make them proactive, personalized, inclusive, and outcome-driven. Artificial intelligence is emerging as a foundational capability in this transformation. It enables governments to anticipate citizen needs, enhance policy decisions through data-driven approaches or insights, improve service delivery at scale, and empower officials to focus on high-value engagements with the stakeholders and ecosystem. Ultimately, the true measure of AI in government is not the sophistication of technology, but whether it creates greater trust, accessibility, transparency, and tangible value for every citizen. As governments embrace this opportunity, they must also navigate important questions, right, in front of us around responsible AI, data governance, privacy, ethics, interoperability, and workforce readiness. The challenge is not simply adopting AI, it's embedding in a way that is trusted, inclusive, and sustainable. Against this backdrop, right, today's discussion is both timely and important. We have an exceptional panel representing diverse perspectives in government, technology, and public service. I look forward to hearing the sides, and I hope you are also eagerly looking at it, on how AI can power the next era of digital-centric governance, and more importantly, how we translate the promise into measurable public impact. Right? So the way we will run this format, esteemed panelists, is we'll have some discussion points, and I'll open it to all of you, and whoever feels comfortable, share your thoughts. I think we have a timeline also here, right, 45 minutes. Keep it crisp so that we have around 8-9 discussion points, and then we can conclude it, right, at the end of it. Right? Yeah. Yeah. The first one, I think I'll keep create a broad context, right? Can we vision, create a governance, right? Thoughts in terms of the topic. I'll open it to you in terms of opening thoughts, and then I'll come back to you for the first discussion aspect of it. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, panelists, and Mr. Srinivas. So I'll briefly touch upon the background about AI and what Indian government is doing or wants to do as far as AI is concerned. And finally, what Income Tax Department, how AI tech is helping tax department in delivering citizen-centric services to the taxpayers and efficiently and in a faster manner. So presently, we are living probably one of the most transformative periods in human history. So if we talk of human civilization, there are certain inventions which have changed the course of history and impacted human lives in profound ways. So we talk of, let's say, steam engine, aeroplane, electricity, plastics, internet, digital tech, and now AI. So friends, whether we like it or not, AI as tech or AI as a tool has arrived. And it generates a different kind of emotions among various persons. For the first time in history, see, so far, whatever inventions have taken place, it provided greater control to the human beings. It made our control or our decision making much faster. But AI is kind of technology for the first time that we are sort of losing control, because the agentic AI is the kind of technology which can evolve on its own, and probably sooner the AI agent or agentic AI may better human brain. So it may create its own problems, and I think in a very brief period of time I may not be able to touch upon it. So maybe in the second round, I'll briefly discuss about that. Yeah. Coming to India, what the Indian government has done as far as AI is concerned, So our aim, stated aim of the government of India is to be global leaders in AI tech. Now, as far as the global pecking order is concerned, we are certainly, hierarchy is concerned, we are slightly behind few countries. But as far as AI vibrance index is concerned, we are number 3 globally. And in the last year, 2025, we launched our AI mission. And the purpose of AI mission is to develop some kind of full stack AI capacity within India by the year 2035. So whether it is compute capacity, which government aims to generate somewhere around 10,000 GPU, then foundational models, and so on and so forth. And recently we also had AI Impact Summit in Delhi. The theme of AI Impact Summit was democratizing AI, how benefits of AI should reach to all, how it should benefit all, and how some kind of platform may be created to global south so that humanity as a whole gets benefited by AI. There are basically 3 pillars as far as this AI thing is concerned, and we sort of classify it under people, planet, and progress. So as far as people are concerned, to what extent the AI is going to impact the jobs and livelihood of the people, it is a very, very important question. Then coming to the planet, as you know, AI systems or data centers are going to be the energy guzzlers. So how it will impact sustainability and climate change and so on. Coming to the progress, progress has got 2 limbs. So the first progress is that how AI will create efficiency and productivity, which is very, very important. But more than that, how AI would create social good. So there is another important area. We have to be very, very conscious of that, how e-governance or public service delivery we can make faster and efficient through AI technology. So briefly coming to the income tax department, how income tax department is using AI technology in delivering better services and faster services to the taxpayers. You know, as of now, income tax department is fully automated. Whether it is tax payment or tax filing or tax processing, it is completely online. Now, the refunds are going directly to the people, to their bank accounts. A taxpayer now need not visit the income tax department to meet any kind of tax obligations. You must have seen that in many cases, the tax refund comes the same day as tax return is filed. Anyone who has received the tax refunds the same day? Yeah, I think 4 or 5 of them. And mostly within a month or so, most of the people do receive refunds. So this we have been able to do with the help of technology. Now, other than this, you must have seen this 26 AS and AIS. Now, 26 AS is the kind of details, whatever data or information income tax department collects. It is front-loaded, shared with the taxpayer before the due date of filing of tax return, so that a person can have a look at it and then can make an informed decision as far as tax payment is concerned. Now, AI tech also helps us in tackling tax evasion in much more efficient ways and in much more non-intrusive ways. Now, we really need not visit a person to know about his tax evasion or tax non-payment, etc. So entire data is available with the income tax department. So with the help of technology, AI, we can match the data of income and taxes payment, whichever expenditure, investment and other information which is available with the income tax department. And by processing those details through computer, through AI, we can generate a list or details of the cases where tax evasion could be there. Then there are cases of serious tax fraud. You must have seen that Income Tax Department carry out searches in few cases. Recently, we had a case of this restaurant people, biryani, who make biryani and sell biryani. And that entire scam was somewhere around 70,000 crore. Like not only in Telangana, but in like let's say Chennai, Karnataka and other states put together. Similarly, like we had an action on these large format stores who sell jewelry and garments and so on. So there also what innovative ways people adopt is they have innovative software which manipulates sales data, etc. So technology helps us in detecting the kind of transactions which are not reported, even the deleted transactions. So with these few opening remarks, if I get opportunity in the second round, I'll touch upon other aspects also. But with these remarks, I thank iLog Media, GovConnect, Mr. Fahim, Mr. Raman Mishra for organizing this beautiful AI Transformation Summit, and thank them to for giving us an opportunity to share our views. I also thank Telangana government and a very smart young director of like the Electronic Services Delivery Department. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Can anyone wants to do opening remarks? Anyone? Yeah, if you can, yeah.
Okay, so good morning everyone, and again compliments to iGov Media for carrying on this conversation and collaboration, especially with state governments, Government of Telangana in this case, and the bringing together so many different voices cutting across sectors. That's most important, because even in this panel I can see that the various very critical sectors are represented, and what's most important also is that the conversation brings the industry, academia and practitioners and government together. So here just a few thoughts, especially from a sector that I represent, and the social sector, and within that social sector, looking at what governance really would mean, and the next era of AI driven governance, and that too, in terms of what I saw in the panel, that the citizen centricity of it in terms of improved governance. So very important for us to, to be talking about citizens in terms of looking at the disaggregation of understanding the various age groups, the various categories that governance needs requires to respond to. I would start from maybe children not even born, as a pregnant mom, who conceives a baby. So, and then let us see the children when they are, say, when we say, AI needs to, become child-centric. So, the child has different needs. A child who's 0 to 3 years old has different needs. A child who's 3 to 6 in preschool has a different need. A child who's school-going would have a different need. Similarly, children who are in college will have different type of education needs. Past college or even before, different type of skilling needs the youth would need. And once they are in the job market, the needs are different. So, the citizen centricity in governance requires us to understand the different needs. Women, again, when I say it's not just the pregnant woman, but adolescent girls, their needs of the type of nutrition, or even the children, the type of nutrition needs, the healthcare needs, that would also vary even within women, the various categories, when we disaggregate, whether it is a senior citizen that we are looking at, what are her needs, what are the physical and mental health needs also need to be looked at, and the needs, the special needs child, or a woman with a special need. So these are certain disaggregated categories, very, very important to see how the AI today can respond to these various needs. And I tell you that I personally have lot of faith, because I've seen the kind of potential which some of the responses have brought, be it adopting technologies like Portion Tracker in our own Anganwadi system to be able to track the nutrition indicators of how a child goes from underweight to becoming, somebody who is now called fit, not to be in the category of a SAM child or a MAM child, who is supposed to be malnourished. So AI does provide us with the predictive technologies also, and also provides us with the scope to customize solutions. But the big question today is, as was said in the first panel, that beyond a pilot, we have to scale up things and we have to institutionalize. We have to make things more sustainable. How is, I think, the big question of ownership, adoption, demystification, institutionalization would also require infrastructure readiness in various forms. Not just physical infrastructure, but also in terms of the human capacity of, say, our field functionaries who are deploying these technologies. For our ASHA, for our Anganwadi workers, who are deploying these technologies for better healthcare, for better preschool education, for better parental engagement, for better community awareness. That is the ultimate need when we look for maternal health care, we look for the adolescent health care. So these were some of the first thoughts, that it needs to be, the promise needs to be now quickly translated on ground in terms of large scalable models, which requires investment, it requires a lot of patience, lot of perseverance, it requires a lot of collaboration and risk-taking appetite also. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you want to have any open thoughts, or should I go ahead with the first interaction? Yeah. Okay. My first one is basically, we are all convinced about AI transforming and creating governance, right? My first question is basically, what is one governance challenge where AI can create the most impactful in the citizen environment, right? In citizen service environment, what is the most impactful one from a governance standpoint, and what is challenge there? Right, is the first question that I have. If anybody would want to pick up and share the thoughts, yeah.
I think the developing voice models. So you say something to the system कि आज let's say particular grain का क्या rate है for farmers, या climate किस तरह का रहेगा. So it is available in, let's say, Telugu, it is available in Tamil through Bhasani kind of thing. A general person, whether he is educated or not, living in rural areas or urban settings, so you can reach out to the knowledge base as to how things are going to happen, and then can make an informed decision. So this is going to be one very big thing as far as AI tech is concerned.
If I may go? Yeah, sure. Thanks. No, I think one very critical thing that comes to my mind is more around the grievance redressal systems that we have, right? I think identifying beneficiaries, because it varies from department to department, but probably most of the departments which are citizen-centric also have a grievance redressal. So I think what I probably foresee is a way where we could probably club all these things. And for a citizen, departments are all one. For him, it should not be getting into multiple forms, filling multiple follow-ups and all. And also adding on to what Sir rightly said, I think as a country, for us, we should be more in terms of voice first. Okay, we should be multilingual, because those are the unique things that come in. And when we get into these sort of, use cases, it's more important to design these elements, keeping these factors in mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very important for me to bring in the gender bias, which at times tends to erupt there. So to make it more inclusive, again, the way the data is trained to become like more inclusive, and besides the gender balance, also the regional balance and the rural-urban balance. So from what I understand is that still a challenge and still a long way for us to go in terms of making sure that the data itself is so inclusive that the solutions that we look for are actually getting customized to give right responses to. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I am Akashdeep, Commissioner and Secretary Transport for the Government of Assam. While the esteemed panelists have given their opinions and their valuable thoughts into this, what I would like to say is that instead of challenge, I would like to say these are the opportunities. Well, the governance has a plethora of actions which needs to be taken, be it grievance, be it service delivery, be it any other consultation, advice, or physically going and availing the services. All these areas, AI can play a bigger role, a smarter role, efficient role in all these governance activities. Let it be citizen-centric. Well, there are models available for voice, these things, there are server models, Bhashini, and they are available. They can be used and customized as per the local and regional requirement. Therefore, wherever the governance is, be it government to citizens, or between government to government, or knowledge repository, all the places there are opportunities. So, and the topic of this session, if I am not Mr. Wrong, is how can we can have a participative and a kind of a role where we can complement each other.
Absolutely.
And while I was discussing with Mr. Kunal, he is an old friend of mine. I mean, there are many opportunities which will be available in future by using AI. Well, definitely we had many waves in governance, like earlier, the philosophical shift of citizen-friendly, good governance. And to deliver that, we have an IT wave or software wave. Now we are having this artificial intelligence wave. And we have to sit on the bus. We have to capitalize this opportunity. We should not be lagging behind in this. So what I am going to say is here that many roles or jobs are going to disappear because of AI. Let me tell you very frankly. But many jobs and roles are going to emerge as well. So we have to be ready for those. And such roles which are going to emerge, and there is going to be rapidly changing skill set requirement for these new roles. We have to do the skilling part parallel to this, what we are envisaging. So skilling has to go side by side, because a massive shift and very rapid changes are going to happen in future. We have to be ready for that. And if you talk about a specific, I can tell about transport department if time permits, or I mean, you go to any department, all the opportunities are there. Thank you.
I will also like to add to what Akashdeep sir and other esteemed panelists have said. Actually, when we see AI at a very high level, see AI is not doing anything which was not done earlier. Earlier also images were being made, earlier also websites were being made, earlier also searches was being done. But it was done with a more static logic. AI has brought in intelligence to it. And this intelligence is the thing which is making all the difference. Like, as we have discussed about this citizen-centric approach and grievance redressal and voice-enabled command. So what is all these things doing? All these things are basically making a citizen interact with a government setup in a much more easier manner. Earlier we had some kind of call center, or we had some kind of website which was having some form. You had to go to the website, fill up the form. But now just with the voice, you can actually interact. You can be answering something on the wrong direction. The website can correct you. That, sir, please provide this information. The information which is given is not up to the mark or is not in the right direction. So real-time correction can be done from the citizen side. So it's like you're interacting with a customer support center, not just filling up some forms. So this is the role of AI when we talk about as far as citizen is concerned. And as far as delivery is concerned, we have such huge database. Right now we use filters to find out data. I am personally looking after employment department. So there we have this concept of matchmaking between job seekers and job providers. So companies also want to find right candidates, resumes. So earlier we used to have such kind of filters. That, okay, 12th pass or graduation, filters were there. But now with the help of AI, in the natural language, in the large language models, it is reading the entire resume and finding out the best possible resumes. In fact, we can also say that, okay, give me the 10 best resumes of candidates which are available. Earlier filter was giving me all the resumes, and we had to see that which resume fits me most. But now AI is giving me top 10 best resumes. So the efficiency, the quality of work has tremendously improved. And all the private players, the academicians, the research centers, they should be actually thinking that how can we develop such kind of small solutions which can actually help in deepening the governance. Governance is nothing but interaction between government and citizens. So it has to be improved. The quality of interaction has to improve, and also the delivery has to become fast and more responsive. And I feel that AI has opened altogether new portal, new opportunities. And as sir rightly said, see, the old jobs will go. A normal UI designer making a web page will now no longer be required, because the AI is making web pages in a much more efficient manner and a faster manner. You use Google Stitch, it will make a web page in 5 minutes. Normally, a developer will take around a week's time or 15 days time to make a web page. Google is doing it in 5 minutes. So you will not need that developer now. But then there can be a UI developer who is enabled with the Google Stitch tool. So now he can he can cater to so many more companies, so many more requirements in a much more faster manner. So we have to accordingly change with the AI and develop new skills by using the AI tools available, and then deepen our understanding of AI to improve the governance system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Participatory rule comes.
Yes.
I look after the health sector in the state of Bihar. So earlier the panelists have already highlighted various sectors. So I think one of the important things one has to realize when it comes to the challenges and opportunities with respect to artificial intelligence is the fact that I think we have gone past that stage where data is not a problem. But I think one of the important things one has to realize, especially when it comes to the social sectors, and especially when the citizen-centric approach is most relevant for such sectors like health, education, and social security, I think the data itself, whether it is your right data or not, because at the end of the day, what data we have, since last mile connectivity is still a challenge in the country in the sense due to the large population that we have. So I think one of the important challenges for us going ahead, especially in social sectors, would be, since the intervention stage is where the artificial intelligence would apply. So your data purity is of utmost importance. So I think one has to look after that. And after that, I think one of the important opportunities would arise where, we can go ahead with from becoming, reactive governance to, being proactive. For instance, forecasting a lot of things when it comes to disease elimination or things like providing certain medication or, advanced identification of outbreaks or epidemics. So once the data is pure and once we are able to identify the gaps in these social sectors, especially I'm coming from the perspective of health. So I think artificial intelligence can be a big game changer in the times to come. So that's where I think we need to look at.
Yeah, thank you so much for actually putting the thoughts around the challenge in terms of governance. My next question is basically successful AI adoption, right, requires both, as AI is important, it's also important to create the institutional readiness, right, to absorb AI and implement it. My next question is, are we ready, right, what needs to be done from a policy perspective, from an infrastructure perspective, right? What are the things that we need to make it ready, right, to absorb AI, right? So any thoughts there, right, as a next trigger?
No, that's a very apt and very, very, what should I say, good question in this context, because, I mean, it's like not every department, I cannot vouch for everyone, but we have to be ready for the use of AI. That is a very, very pertinent question. Until we are not ready, we should not adopt AI. That is my very clear understanding on this. We have to have this understanding because we have to have that ecosystem. And once we identify the system where we want to replace it with AI, that should be the case. Again, one thing I missed in my first part, which I'll say that the India AI mission and the DPI policy which they have rolled out, they emphasize the role of providing basically an infrastructure which can be used by any player in this field, and they can use it, scale it, and they can adopt a solution model scale it and use it for the various purposes, even for the governance. For example, this, what do you call this, UPI, this thing kind of with the Aadhaar verification. So the philosophy in India, unlike in the West where they are making these models for making money because the cost of computing and everything is going high, in India is more towards how we can innovate, how we can use this technology using digital public infrastructure, which is for almost free for use for everyone, to customize it, and different solutions we are going to have it. So first of all, we should identify what are the places we are going to implement AI, and we have to be ready for that. This is a very prerequisite for using AI in systems. Thank you. Thank you.
Any forward-looking thoughts on what is that is happening? Because you are helping different departments. From a government perspective, do you have any thoughts on where we are? What is that the government is thinking, and where are still the gaps, right? We need to plug. If you can throw that insight, would be helpful. Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of mention on India mission. So as a representative of the mission, I think it's my duty also to really acknowledge and thank so much for putting up those thoughts. I believe infrastructure is definitely a key role to play, and that's something that as the mission proceeds further, we're also looking at how do we scale that up, because that becomes a core. I think when it comes to an institutional readiness perspective, also like sir mentioned, it's about identifying what is the problem that you're going to solve. That's very, very important, critical. And then also probably tapping it to data. How ready is your data that you're collecting? How ready is it, or rather I would say, how AI ready is your data, to really work on? I think these are the two very critical aspects. Obviously with relevant infrastructure available, because we also are giving out a lot of compute in terms of GPUs and all. And like sir also rightly mentioned, it's open to all. And somebody also mentioned about democratizing it. So it's literally being democratizing all these, resources. Just one other thing which I also feel from an institutional perspective is capacity building internally. Not, because I also look at it as 3 layers. I mean, people at the secretary level are more probably supposed to be ready with understanding, evaluating, and identifying what are the risks and the harms and the goods and the bads. But people who are at the field level are more supposed to be using those tools. They should be having a different set of skill sets there. And probably people on the technical side are supposed to have access to these data and models that they can deploy. But these are things that I think are very critical. Thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And really nice to listen to great minds here, right? Especially when sir talk about thank you for making faster ITR returns, right? However, one thing, we are currently at a stage, we are adopting AI, we are building a lot of AI-based decisions within various departments across government, right? Now, 2 challenges which I see more from a industry perspective. One, as of today, we have solved, let's say, human identity problem with something like Aadhaar, right? And we are leading providers as of today in the world using UPI systems. Now consider in next 5 years, instead of humans doing the task, most of these tasks would be done by agents, right? So instead of me filing ITR today, I would rather prefer my agent doing the job for me, right? Now there is a basic problem of trust. How do you know which agent is logically allowed to do what thing? If you want to share data across 2 different departments within government, right? Would you trust your AI agents to take a decision on their own behalf without having a proper authorization and review in place? So one of the critical aspects is that we have solved human identity problem with Aadhaar. We have solved data privacy problems using DPDP Act. Now, in next couple of years, we should think more towards agentic AI identifications. How can I provide agentic AI's own identity using cryptographic methods or something? Especially, we are going into post-quantum era very soon, right? So we have to be ready, both from the policy perspective as well as from the institutional perspective, where infrastructure backbone is already provided by IndiaAI mission, right? Now, how our academia can adopt it, how our policymakers can create a governing structure across agents as well as humans, so that we can identify or we can map an agentic AI's decision to a approver, right, to a policymaker maybe. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing the trust aspect, right? My next question was that only, that responsible AI and trust as a combination, right? How can, and all the public institutions are recognized by trust by the citizens, right? And my next question was, how can governments ensure AI systems remain transparent, fair, right, inclusive, and accountable, right? And continue the interest and the trust of the citizens back to the departments that you are servicing. I think my next question is that if you can share your thoughts, that would be great. Yeah.
I would like to answer this question, and this is a very, very important question in Indian context. The AI systems are based on large language models. We call them LLMs. And these large language models, primarily what we are seeing, this Chat GPT, Claude, or whatever the major systems which are there, they are basically developed outside India. And their training data is also not of India, it's from the foreign countries. So when we will be using those large language models in India, there will be going to be two major considerations. One consideration is definitely data security, because the servers are not in India, so whichever model, the model will consume data. So the data has to be fed into a outside country's server, and then they can use the data for multiple various reasons, which we would not be wanting them to use it. So one is the security aspect. The second is the bias aspect, because their data is basically attuned towards their demography, their preferences, their choices. And the results which we might be seeking might not be the exact fit what they are providing. So there is a huge need for India to develop its own large language models. And still, Government of India is going ahead in this direction. We are having various models, but they are in the initial stages. Bhashini has done very good in converting between different Indian languages. And then we have other models also. But still, there is a long way to go. And when we will be having our own these LLM models, which will be rooted in India, servers having these GPUs and servers in India, data centers in India, then this trust will also come. Because then we'll be able to tweak those agents which will be responsive to our own needs, and we can also change their behavior if any kind of change is required. It will be very difficult to actually make an agent based on GPT models and expect that they will be behaving exactly as per our own requirements. So research in this direction, making our own LLMs is also very, very critical.
Understood. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
So the trust part, I think, is very important from the point of view of service providers and the service seekers or the so-called beneficiaries. Why so? Because, I'll just take a simple example of like caregivers and, say one of the flagship programs of the government again, coming to Anganwadi workers or Ashas and, who are actually the field functionaries. And the trust in deploying AI-enabled governance mechanisms, which we are talking about here, comes when I, as a user, feel that it is improving my efficiency. I, as a user, feel that it is improving me to move beyond input to output to seeing the outcomes. Now, what outcomes? Of course, in the sector that we are talking about, I want to see the improved in outcome in terms of my nutrition indicators, stunting, wasting, underweight. And so all these indicators, when you look at, today we are accountable. So that accountability is there, but the trust comes in when I feel that, there is a tool which is enabling me to perform my duties better. Citizens, again, they need to know. So from the citizen side, the ownership of, creating that engagement, that participation, which is required, any AI tool that we adopt, say for maternal health, if it is the question of delivery and the safe delivery and making sure that the MMR has to go down, what do? You also engage the citizens, the mothers, to be able to use the tools which are deployed. So the trust and transparency would actually come with a two-way communication, which has to be very, very real time. It has to be understood, it has to be owned up, there has to be full ownership that it is for my good. So I think the big challenge today is that the drawing room board conversations or the lab, creations or the research in the academia, they actually have to translate into big conversation of creating that, huge mega ownership of that behavioral change coming, that there is a tool which is there to help me from both sides. I mean, that's what is one thought. And that is again something which can build in the institutional readiness better, because there will be greater demand for the institutional readiness, which I feel that, yeah, beyond pilot, if we scale up things, we need to, bring people on a common platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Very small point here. All the esteemed panelists have given their thoughts on this. What I would like to say here is that for the trust and this thing, yes, Kunal is very right. These LLMs have been trained in the context, or the kind of knowledge systems is mostly taken from the West. However, until unless things are automated to a level that trust factor comes, there has to have a role of human for the supervision. So that has to be there. Till the time we do everything, but the finality, the decision, when the things are to be taken, the supervision role cannot be neglected. So till the time the agents become, or the AI or the LLM becomes so this thing, or localized for our needs, we have to have that role there. Regarding developing our own LLM, I think that is very costly affair. We have not been able to do so far. There have been some attempts for Sarvam, or maybe for language and all, Bhashani, etc. No.
Yeah, a few years away.
Yeah, I mean, but they require a lot of investment. The money is kind of support, the kind of computing requirement is very high. So we are actually not there in competing those lines. As I said, the West is there to develop more and more powerful LLM models for recovering their the cost. We are there to utilize it for the better governance and service delivery.
Yeah.
That's what.
So we have I think two private sector representation here. My next question, okay, so one, sorry. So let us hear his thoughts, right? What should government do on its own, and what should they partner with private sector? If you can give us some thoughts, right? Because you have seen it outside in lens, right? So if you can give us those thoughts that government should focus on this, and they could partner with private sector and create a co-value, right, for the citizens. I think, please share your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's a great question. However, I think the question itself is wrong. We should not say it's a build versus buy decision, right? It's build with enterprises decision, right? Government should be working hand in hand with Indian enterprises, with Indian academia, to build AI infrastructure and AI systems, right? It cannot be, nothing within AI can be developed in isolation, right? For example, IndiaAI mission or Bhashini, providing the infrastructure backbone, platform backbone, working with academia. Now it's for the industry as well to provide certain use cases, as sir said, localized context and localized problems to be solved first. From industry perspective, I would say it really doesn't matter who developed LLM. What matter is who is owning the context which is making that LLM more smarter, right? So as long as, as the government of India, right, sovereign idea, we own our own AI context, that for that matter, I think we are safe, and that is how we should design our governance structure to ensure that our AI context is never going outside the Indian boundary. That is more critical, and maybe with the enterprises and government working hand in hand, we can work out that framework.
Yeah, sorry. I think one point that I also want to draw everyone's attention is the speaker in the morning who mentioned about why compete with the West. It's not necessary that you have to, because as a country, we are in ourselves very unique and diverse. So if we can even build models that solves local problems, it's good for us. No? And I completely buy into what sir said about a lot of data is organically going out of the country, and probably they are learning more about our business models than we do. But I think it's time. And we're also actually investing a lot with Sarvam and Bharat Gen, while there is a lot of room for improvement. But those are the models that that we are trying to do.
Thank you. I think the most important question now coming to, there are a lot of insecurity amongst public servants or private sector, in fact, right? AI will replace, and a lot of agitations globally, right, about AI replacing workforce. What kind of thought process you have to say, okay, how do we upskill? What kind of models that you feel that this insecurity, right, amongst the people to adopt AI will go away? If you can share some thoughts on operating models which upskill the whole workforce, whether it's public or private, it will be helpful.
See, when computerization started seriously in India, sometime in early 90s, there was this talk that computer is going to take away human jobs and it is going to create joblessness, and we know software industry, computer has been the largest job creators as far as India is concerned in last 20-25 years. So with AI also, certainly there would be job losses, certainly. But new jobs will be created as well. There are a lot of jobs which will be created for usage of AI tech. You see, the important thing is how to train the people to use AI tech smartly. One is you are raising just a question and getting some information, but if you can train that model to get information in a specialized way, it really helps. For research also, for other kind of things also. Another important dimension is predictive analysis. Based upon the information or data available to that stage, what is going to happen? Let's say these crowd control measures, like events like our Kumbh Mela and all that, where let's say 3 crore people visiting the site in single day, how to manage crowd efficiently. Or the weather situation, flood control. There is a rainfall in upper reaches area, to what extent it is going to flood the downstream areas. Those kind of things, scenario analysis, predictive analysis, this kind of technology is going to help us in a very big way. And my suggestion.
You know, so one thought was, the question of emotional intelligence, and especially the human intelligence part. And it cannot possibly be, either or. That the replacement, because both have to go hand in hand. So that thought process, to be able to convey to the larger set of, consumers, that it's instead of replacement. Now, if you're looking at actually the AI being able to complement the human intelligence, and also that it's not just that the emotional intelligence is the only thing with the human, there is something which is, I think the challenge is that we need to be smarter to be able to deploy the AI in a smarter manner. So the need for skilling to make our children, the way in the morning I saw that the new, module of training starting from school children. Yeah, so they need to be smart enough, rather than thinking that their job is easier now with AI. The job is probably tougher, but you need to be smarter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely agree with you, ma'am. And right, spot on. Human intelligence, right, can never be replaced by artificial intelligence. It's just that, people who have not really understood or adopted AI in a faster manner, they are feeling left behind. And that is where the, fear of joblessness would be coming in. We are in the age of transformation, right? So it's not just the AI or the machines we are getting transformed. The humans also need to transform and adopt, right? So as long as you are able to learn faster using AI and ensure that you are keeping upkeep with it, I don't think there are any job losses. It's just transforming from one existing or older legacy jobs to new generation jobs.
Yeah, so we have 2 minutes, right? One bold recommendation in the next 5 years. What would be your one bold recommendation which will make AI the trusted engine for a better citizen-centric service? One bold recommendation, right? If you can take 30, 40 seconds, and then we can open up a couple of questions to the audience. One bold recommendation which you feel should be done by policymakers to make AI the trusted engine for a better citizen-centric service.
Make small use cases and solve local
Probably making
problems.
it more inclusive.
Okay, I would like the CSR to come forward and also back and support, especially of the kind of scalable models which are there demonstrated, say for our Anganwadis, because that's what I would like to make most appeal for. So they should back, players who are there bringing good models which can improve our, social sector nutrition indicators for children or for women's safety. Thank you.
Make small use cases and solve local problems.
I think one of the important things would be to have a unified approach between various sectors in terms of every sector has various amount of data. But I think coordination is somewhere missing. So basically, the interventions required in various sectors can be done through a unified approach by using data of various sectors, and that would be a great enhancement of better policy making, I think, for all of us.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts?
No, I think sometimes sitting in the end is very advantageous because all the points are already covered. So I have nothing more to add.
Okay. So we'll open up a couple of questions. We can take a couple of minutes. Any couple of questions that you want to ask the panel? Anyone, please? Yeah. Any questions to the panelists? Yeah. Please there.
Yeah, good afternoon all. My question is regarding use of generative AI at the grassroots levels. We are talking about the mostly focusing upon the AI solutions at the higher level where we need infrastructures and all. But we should start adopting AI at grassroots levels, like especially at education sector, where we can enable students to use generative AI. Already the freely available resources are already available for that. We need not make any investment and all. So those, if we can, especially at the government institutions and all, because already the private institutions are already using this. So there's always government students are doing a catch-up game. So if we can impart AI introduction to at government institution, at university level, till from school to university level, that I think that would be beneficiary for as a nation to us.
Any thoughts?
See, very good question. Education is a sector which can really be transformed by AI. See, now as far as the reach of education is concerned, it is the reach to the lowest level. But as far as the quality of education is concerned, there are serious issues, especially with the schools in rural areas. So the AI tech, how to get access to good quality education to the students who are in remote areas. So for that, accessibility is one thing. Creating system how students or teachers there are going to access those educational systems. This is an area in which government, BharatNet, so internet connectivity, creating maybe computer monitors or TV screens or things like that through which information can be accessed by students is one area. As far as college education is concerned, we have got top-rated institutions like IITs, IIM, ISC, and so on. And there are colleges which are not at the same level. So students who wish to access that quality education, quality lecture, they should be in a position to get those things. So sometime back I was talking to there's a director, I am Bangalore, and he said they have created so much of content, so many lectures in different areas of management education, and it is available free of cost. Similar effort is being made by IITs also. So Professor Kam Koti, the director of IIT Madras, he is part of our AI mission. So a lot of things are happening on those front, and sooner we are going to see the real impact in this area.
Thank you. I think as we conclude this enriching discussion, right? One message comes out very clearly. AI is not about smart technology. It's about enabling better governance and creating meaningful outcomes for every citizen. Today's conversation has reinforced that the future of citizen-centric governance will be built on three pillars: trusted data, responsible AI, and strong collaboration between government, industry, academia, and civil society. While technology will evolve to continue to evolve rapidly, our collective success will ultimately be measured by how effectively we improve everyday lives of our citizens, making public services more accessible, inclusive, transparent, and responsive. The journey ahead is not simply about adopting AI, but about building institutions that are agile, resilient, and citizen-first by design. right? On that note, I sincerely thank all the panelists for their valuable insights and practical experiences. I think the income tax one is the best one I felt in terms of the service model. And to all of you to create an engaging audience here. Yeah. I hope today's discussion sparks new ideas, stronger partnerships, and renewed commitment to harnessing AI responsibly for a greater public good. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the session.